Hey guys, Cliffhanger here. Thank you so much for watching Riff with Cliff. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about compression. Now, I play rock guitar, and I want to see if compression is really right for what I do. But I also want to kind of explain to you my knowledge of compression and how it works. Feel free to share any of your comments below, and if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe as it's helping my channel grow, and I really appreciate you watching and being here with me in the first place.
Thank you so much.
Today's video, I'm going to be using a Telecaster, which has single coils, and kind of breaking down compression. I also have this compressor here, which is a Cali 76. It's based off an 1176 kind of circuit, allowing us to adjust the attack and release. Some compressors don't have that, more like an LA two-way style compressor wouldn't have that. You also have like your Dynacomps and stuff with just two knobs. This one has a little bit more going on for it. Without any compression, I want to show you how this guitar sounds. Now, I'm going to kick on that compression, and we're going to hear such a tonal difference and a squeezed sound coming from this pedal. So let me show you what I mean. Immediately, we start to hear a lot of that low end kind of come in and just a more smoothed out kind of sound. Now, is this for everyone? Maybe not, but maybe I can explain kind of what's going on here in this pedal. You see, what a compressor does is it's taking your dynamic range and it's squeezing it. What is the dynamic range? Well, dynamic range is the level between your loudest notes and your quietest notes, your softest hitting notes. And it's squeezing that down so that we don't have so much of a difference in between. And you can kind of hear that with just plain chords. Let me put this in the middle position here and let me do a G chord. And right there, that's compressed to shit so we can hear that the compression is working. But if I turn the pedal off, we can hear the difference. It's a little bit thinner and a little bit more loose sounding, if that makes any sense. You can hear the difference. You can hear what I mean. The compression is like the glue, and it's something that you kind of almost feel more than you kind of hear it, which is very interesting because sometimes in the context of a mix, or like if you're listening to a band live, you might not even be able to tell if they're using compression or not. And I would say that's a good thing, right? Because if something sounds overly squeezed and overly choked out and compressed to death, you're gonna be like, oh, that sounds kind of strange. Unless they're going for like a trick or like a sound, like I want it to sound, you know, messed up like that. There's no rules when it comes to recording or tones. If it sounds good, it sounds good, and keep that in mind. Compression can also be used to boost the quietest parts of your signal. So if you're playing really light, I'm trying to hit all of those notes at a different volume or a different intensity with my picking hand, but it's gonna come across like it's all the same volume. Versus if I turn that off, we can hear that there's more dynamic response in between the notes than with it on. It's kind of squeezing it, and all those notes kind of sound evened out, like they're at a flat level. They all sound even, and even is good, as all things should be. So let me turn this on and we can kind of go through it. Here we have the input level, which is just adjusting the input level of your dry guitar signal coming in. So let me hit something kind of light. That is a ton of dry input signal coming in. You're also going to increase the noise floor, especially with single coil pickups. And if we were to bring it down, you can hear there's a difference. Now when I crank it up, you can hear a little bit more warmth come in. We can hear a big difference in the tone. The out controls the output signal coming out of the compressor so that we can keep it relatively close to the same level coming in. Because when you do compression, a lot of the times what happens is you're squeezing that dynamic range and the volume of the guitar or the volume of the signal shrinks or it gets quieter because you're compressing it down. So you can use the output to kind of match where it would be. Think of it as like a makeup gain, and often compressors are even call that a makeup gain. Then we have ratio here, which allows you to adjust the gain reduction for any increase in signal coming into the pedal. We have a high level and a low level, but some compressors don't have that. Some compressors might just have two different knobs. We're going to use this to kind of shape the tone. For instance, your compressor might say that it has a 4:1 ratio. And what that means is for every 4 decibels of signal that exceeds whatever threshold you're setting on your compressor, 1 decibel is going to be reduced. So you might have a 4:1, a 2:1, a 10:1 ratio. For every time your signal passes that level, it's going to be reduced by 1 decibel. And this just allows for a ton of different tonal changes. And by the way, I mentioned a threshold. The threshold is really just where the compression starts to take place in your signal. Keep that in mind. You can usually adjust the threshold on a lot of different compressors. Arguably one of the most important things on a compressor is the attack and the release, because that's really what allows you to shape your tone in an interesting way, and that's going to affect how fast the compression starts and how fast the release starts, when it releases from the compression and it starts to go back to a normal signal. That's really what the attack and release do, and I think that sometimes it's overlooked, which is a shame because the attack and release are important controls on the compressor. For instance, let me just do like a F chord to like a C chord. And now let's take it to a fast attack. And a fast release, which is here. You can hear just slight nuances and slight differences. And you want to set that to a spot that sounds good for you. You don't want it to sound too compressed, too choked out, but kind of just allow your guitar to pop forward. Have the nuances of your guitar playing and the nuances of the notes and even the tone of the guitar and the pickups in general kind of pop out and mold it into a way that sounds good. And to me, that's really what a compressor is used for. Now, you can also use compression on vocals, which I highly recommend doing. You can also use compression on bass or really anything. You could take any level of anything that you have and run it through a compressor and change the tone of the compressor. Now, different compressors have different parts and different transformers and whatnot, and they have their own tonal capabilities. And so that's something to keep in mind, and that's one reason why you might see a bunch of different compressors in a studio, because they're trying to get a vast library of sounds that can be achieved with different compressors. So, is compression right for you? Well, I don't know. Messing with this compressor is really crazy, and it's making me think, oh crap, it's making me learn a lot about compression. And I never use compression right now in my current band. I'm the only guitar player that plays in my band, and I don't use compression at all. But using it now and hearing how some of that nuance can come out in your guitar, like, listen to this. Versus no compression. You can hear a massive difference. It sounds like there's just so much more low end and oomph and ass behind the compression because we have it set to kind of a tight compression setting there, and you can really hear it. It's really squeezing that tone. Is that right for you? Only you can decide. I personally don't use compression, but damn, after trying to explain it in this video, I'm like, wow, maybe I should start using compression because it's a lot of fun, and really shaping your tone to your style is pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments though. Thank you so much for watching Riff with Cliff. Again, my name is Cliffhanger. Feel free to follow me on social media. My Instagram is Riff with Cliff and my TikTok is Riff with Cliff. Links are going to be down below. And if you enjoyed this video, do all the YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys the next time that I see you. Peace.